Hey everybody, Rachel here from RachTheStamper.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really fun card using nuts and bolts. This is brand new from the Spring Occasions catalog, the 2022 Spring Occasions catalog, which will be going live tomorrow. Today is January the 3rd, so if I haven't seen you, Happy New Year. So I originally made this card in kind of shades of gray, and I thought it was really cute, a great alternative for Valentine's. Now this does say "You Make My Heart Go Beat," but I just replaced and put a little heart in there. So I did stamp the hearts and then I fussy cut them out. I used a white gel pen to kind of enhance the eyes here. So this was really tone on tone just with the pop of pink and red. Then I made another card, which I thought was really fun, doing it in a different color. So as you'll see, this one I actually stuck with the same robot for everything, and he does not have a heart. I actually put that one on there. For this one, what I did is I kind of switched it up. So I used the other robot in the background, and then I fussy cut this little dude out, and you can see I even made a mistake here, but no worries. And then I just changed the U so it'll be a different color. So same thing, I'm nuts and bolts about you. What I did is I stamped them, and then I just cut them out individually, and I stamped just the U in black, and I just popped them up on Stampin' Dimensional. So really cute. This one I actually colored with, I can't think of the name of it. I want to say Marvelous Mango Melody. And then I used combination of Magenta Madness and Polished Pink. And then I just used a little bit of Bermuda Bay for him. And same thing again, popped up onto the, popped up with dimensionals onto the front of the card. Now, one other thing, you could go ahead if you wanted to, because when I created this card, I was actually downstairs with my family hanging out, and I didn't have my white gel pen, but we unfortunately no longer carry white gel pens. You can get this. This is a jelly roll pen. You can get this on Amazon. And I have a link to this on my craft supplies. But if you wanted to, you can even add a little bit of something to his eyes. You could add just a little bit of white there. If you wanted to enhance anything else, you could add like a little bit of white shading, a little bit to the heart. So lots of fun stuff you can do with this. And with these white gel pens, what kind of happens is as you let it dry and then you add another layer, which is what I did for this one, it kind of helps to accentuate it. It fills it in a little bit more. So when that layer dries, you can just add another one if you wanted a little bit more of a heavy white layer to your project. So anyway, these are super fun to use. Now, one thing I will tell you, though, they're definitely much more prominent when you're working on a dark card stock, which is kind of cool. So those are my two samples. So today, instead, we're going to do, I kind of went with something different. I thought we could do Bermuda Bay, Coastal Cabana. I did already pre-stamp my robot, and I did decide to use the different robot since I hadn't used him for the front yet. Now, he is going to need to be fussy cut, so I'll do that as quickly as I can. But I stamped this ahead of time because my memento sometimes isn't quite as dark, so I do tend to use VersaFine, which again, unfortunately, Stampin' Up! Does not carry this particular ink. It is made by the same makers of StazOn and Memento. It is a pigment ink. It really inks up details super well, and it takes a little bit to dry though, so I stamped this ahead of time. So we're gonna go ahead and do something different while we just wait for that to finish drying. So I figured I would use this little dude in the background. Now, as you can see here, this one was with Pale Papaya and Mango Melody, but I actually used the Mango Melody to stamp onto the papaya to have a darker shade. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll just move this over so you can see. So I have Bermuda Bay. This is on Coastal Cabana. And then I already have my robot mounted. So kind of what I generally do is start with an area, and then I will just go from there. So just inking, kind of moving up, moving down, over, just kind of filling in all the space. Bring in some feet, put a little bit of kind of side action, just to kind of fill in the whole space. Oh, and their cue is the phone ringing. Okay, so there's that. And then what I thought we could do, so this is just going to need a moment to dry, and all we're going to do is put this onto this, okay? So then what we're going to do is take our little robot guy, and I kind of thought between a combination of the two. So I have Mango Melody, Polished Pink, and you know what? I'm actually going to skip on the Polished Pink. I'm going to go with the darker. I'm going to bring in the Magenta Madness for the heart for this one. That's one other thing I forgot to stamp. You just stamp a heart really quickly. just because we could add something in there. And I'll just do this one in Memento, just to add a little something. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it yet, but just in case I decide to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a blender pen. So blender pen comes in packs of 3. And even though the tip of this is dark, you can see no ink is coming off. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of ink, and you can kind of test this depending on what you're doing. And you do want to wait for your whatever color you stamped it in to dry. So if this smudges, it's just because I just stamped it and it didn't wait too long. But you can use different brush strokes for this. You can make it light, you can make it dark. Okay, so there is our heart. So then all you're going to do is just keep wiping this off until it comes clear. Sometimes you have to turn it around a little bit. And move this over. And then we're going to color in our little robot dude. So I'm going to use a little bit of mango, kind of for some accent pieces. Do that for his little cog flower up here. And I'll just add a little bit of accenting in the mango, and we'll make some of him. I brought out Pool Party, Coastal Cabana, and I believe I have, no, I did not do Bermuda Bay because I don't want it to be too dark. So just do his little, kind of some accents here in the mango. Okay, close this up. And I'm going to start with the lighter of the two. So I'm going to start with Pool Party. So again, I'm just kind of wiping this brush clean, making sure that I turn it. Sometimes mango tends to be a little over dippy. So now I'm going to go ahead into my Pool Party and just bring in a little bit. Oh, he's not quite clean. I made a green. Yellow and blue make green. I'm going to swip to the other side just for the sake of time. Which is kind of nice because it kind of looks like a rusty, like a oxidized. And I cannot think of the name of what we use for that right now. I'm sure you all will remember. I'm going to do his eyes a little lighter, and then we'll do his face just a teeny bit darker. We'll do inside. Go. The arms. Galvanized. There's a technique I'm trying to think of, and I cannot for the life of me think of the name. Okay, so that was Pool Party. Now I'm going to go over to Coastal Cabana. Make sure I'm on the same side. And I'm going to just bring in a little bit darker area. And I'm going to do darker on his feet and the face. I'm kind of starting with a little bit lighter, and then I'm going to add just a bit darker. Not really in all the areas, kind of just in some. There we go. Looks pretty nice. A little bit more on his feet. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so I am going to clean this out later, and I promise you they do come clean. You just have to rub them enough that they actually get clean. So this is our little dude we're going to fussy cut. So the only thing we kind of had to figure out is what we're going to add. Now I haven't done Greetings Kind Human yet, so I figured I might as well do that one. You could also do the HB to you, happy birthday to you, in case you weren't sure what that translation was. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my words. And what I think I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to do the kind in mango. So I'm going to ink that up. And then the rest of it we'll do in Bermuda. Try that one more time, see if I can get it a little bit darker. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just clean this stamp off really quickly. I'm going to clean these two while I'm here. This off. Okay, so then we're going to do the rest of this once more, and I think, You know what? I am going to do it in Bermuda because I think it's going to show up a little bit better and it's going to kind of contrast the kind better. So hopefully that will work out correctly. Yeah, let's go with that. All right, so that is going to need a moment to dry. Just going to pop these away really quickly while I'm waiting for that. All right, so in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and just give that just a moment to dry. I'm going to put my base layer down. So you could use liquid adhesive, tape, really whatever you like. I'm a pretty big fan of liquid adhesive because I like the fact that if you need to, you can move it. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to do one other thing just to kind of give it a little bit of a extra cuteness to it. Is I'm going to grab my Wink of Stella pen and I'm just going to go in on the hearts. I know you really won't be able to see them too much, but just in case when they turn it sideways, it'll look cute. This will be a nice card you could send out for a get well card or just a thinking of you card. That looks pretty good. I think I got all, oh, there's one more up here. Something just nice. Let somebody know you're thinking of them. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this and just re-burnish my score line there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with snipping. So what I'm going to do is, I think I decided this one was the darker, so I'm going to just, and I know I have this little scribble in the background, but because it kind of is the same tone, I'm okay with it being there. And get rid of that one. I'm just trimming right to the edge of this word. Okay, so there's my kind. You can see I stamped on the back of that. Doing the same thing for my human. So I'm just going to trim to the edge and to the edge. So there's human, kind, and then we just have to do the greetings. Okay. So there are our words. I'm gonna add, I think I'm just gonna add this one little, or sorry, the larger of the hearts. So when you're fussy cutting, if you have something really small, the key to doing this is, just in case you've never done this before, is you keep your scissors in the same spot and you kind of rotate your paper around as much as you can, if you're still able to do that. I know not everyone has that dexterity, or maybe you have arthritis or something else that kind of prevents you from doing it. Just do the best you can, and if you can't, no biggie. All right, so we have our heart. One other thing I am going to do, and I just popped this here, I am going to take my Wink of Stella and just put a little teeny bit, I should have done this before I cut it, but a little bit on my heart. All right. And then, same thing, I'm going to do my best to fussy cut this. Now, what I tend to find works easiest is if you work on the parts that are straight first, okay? So, again, I'm just cutting out, to me, I kind of started with an easier spot, go to the edge. I am not getting all those little rivety parts. I'm just doing the best I can. This may not be your thing. I know not everybody likes to fussy cut. I like to fussy cut. I hope I always will be able to fussy cut, but I'm sure one day time will catch up with my dexterity in joints. So I kind of cut in, and then I will just cut away the little pieces because I find that it's easier that way. Now I'm not going to go crazy with my cutting into this, and I'm going to show you a little trick. So I'm just going to do my best for this little part here. Okay, and I'm going to show you a trick when we get to that. And I do this quite often. You can actually also do it on this inside piece here. So I'm not going to cut in this piece here. So I'll show you what I'm going to do instead. Just parting my washer. It is all done. If you don't want to do the same thing when you get to your little antennas here, you can absolutely cut them off. But they're not really too hard to go around. Oops. I say, probably watch, I'll snip this one off by accident because it's usually, that's what happened last time. All right, so same thing. Although I'm trying to make sure that I'm in the camera. That's probably one of the hardest things. We're lucky here in the Mid-Atlantic. We got a snowstorm today, pretty unexpected, which is pretty fun. Be nice having it on my birthday, but it's a little early, so I'll take it. Got my birthday coming up next week. I actually got a really adorable card from one of my team members. Super intricate. She took a lot of time putting it together. It's a beautiful daffodil card. The dog is very bored with this video. You can hear him back here yawning. So again, I'm just cutting best I can. So I'm going to go around this little spot here. And I'm going to do the same. So I already trimmed that one piece. I'm going to do the same on the inside. And I'm just going to the edge. So you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, so I'm leaving the mouth part and the neck part. And then I'm going to just try to do my best to trim up right here. We're almost done. For those of you who haven't either skipped ahead or started fast forwarding, which I know fussy cutting is not always the most exciting thing to watch, that's for sure. Okay, so that should be it right there. Okay, so I have this. Now we have this very light background. So here's another thing you can do. Let me just move my scissors out of the way. So you could do this kind of one of two ways. It really depends on which way you want to do it, but I'm going to do it with just a little bit of a light brush. Where is the one I used earlier? Because I know this one has green. One of these, here it is. This one had blue though. It might be just a little dark still. All right, I'm going to grab a non-SU brush only because I know this one is clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana ink just lightly on this brush. Okay, and I'm actually going to start off and I'm just going to go right over those little spots that are white just to help it slightly blend into the background. Now, again, if you wanted to, you could totally have fussy cut those, but this kind of helps you with that. Takes a little bit of the shocking white off, so it looks like you've cut more than you did. So I don't know if you can tell the difference there, but you can definitely see it blends in a little bit better. You could go in and snip these, but you don't have to. So now, and you can see I stamped my other one there on the back. Now all we're going to do is add some dimensionals or some little pieces of dimensionals. Now, one thing to tell you, when you're working with dimensionals, if you were working with, say, for example, and this is totally acceptable because they're two different things. If you're working with the foam adhesive strips, these and the dimensionals, they are different heights. So I'm not sure if you can see that there. They are not the same height. So as long as you only stick one thing on one, you're good. So for example, if I'm taking dimensionals on the back of my little guy here, but then I decide to use foam adhesive sheets on my, and I want to snip this little piece here for the flower. Foam adhesive sheets on my words, it's perfectly fine. And the reason being is because they're not going to be the same thing. So they're not going to be kind of wobbly. And I hope that makes sense when I'm describing it, because otherwise what happens is you'll have a piece that is kind of like willy-nilly because they're different heights. I'm going to try just a teeny bit. I want to put a little bit, if I can get it on each of these feet. Let's see. I don't know how well that'll work. It might show a little bit, but it's okay. Okay, so there's that. And then I need one more little tiny one for my heart. Go on this side. Just a little piece for the heart. It might even be a teeny bit too big. Okay, so that was the regular dimensionals. And again, typically with white paper, I usually use white dimensionals because otherwise the black dimensionals will show through the back. So I'm going to take just a couple little pieces. Doesn't have to be anything major. You could use regular dimensionals for this as well. So don't feel like you have to swap. And a little piece here. And one more. This one's a little bit longer. Let's see. Hopefully that's not too long. Here. Okay, so you do want to make sure that you put a white panel. For this one, I just put little hearts in there. I figured I could always write over top of that. This one probably doesn't have one. This one needs one because it's gray for sure. So you do want to make sure you put a little white panel on there. And then kind of what you're going to do is just decide where do you want to put your... Now for this one, I did one on the right. I did one on the left. I don't tend to do things center, but so let's do one like that. I think I might move him up just a smidge. And then we'll just put this. Greetings. And put our human. And pop in the kind. Make that one straight since those are a little bit crazy. And then we can always even add a little heart to something over here. So I'm going to leave this sit just for a moment until we actually decide where we put this guy and what we want. But I think these color combinations are really fun. They're very bright. After we kind of get off of that load of doing everything for Christmas with the red and green. Now, sometimes you can get different colors with Christmas, which is really fun. But typically, we're kind of in that red, green, and a little bit darker. I'm going to put the heart there. He's holding it. There we go. So you kind of get in that little darker color scheme. So that's one thing I like about the Occasions catalog, the Spring Mini, because it brightens everything up. You have all the fun colors. So here are 3. There is a very neutral, and then this is used pretty much all of those. So just for the inside, and one thing I forgot to mention, I did do it on this one. Here I forgot, but there is this little line, which is kind of like his shadow standing part. So I'm actually going to pop this one here really quickly, and I'm going to do it in Coastal Cabana so it's not too dark in case it's not perfectly straight. So it's just kind of like his shadow of where he's standing. There we go. So that's good enough. So then the other thing you can do on this, and I'm just going to move this over really quickly so I can finish up the inside. I'll just go like this. A couple, oops, stamped on a dimensional backing there. Just try and make it so it's not super duper dark. So I have just a little bit of grounding there at the bottom. And then what we could do is stamp either this little guy on the inside, and we can stamp him in a really light color so he's not overwhelming the inside of the card. We'll stamp him in Pool Party. And can have him down here at the bottom. And then what we'll do, so instead of kind of coloring this in, I'm going to take my blender pen. It's still my orange, my mango. There's a very deep piece of mango in there somewhere. All right, we got it clear. So then I'm just going to take, since this is kind of still wet ink, and I'm just going to, not on the whole thing, just color it in a little bit. Just kind of shade him in just a smidge. And then you could write whatever else you want to do in there. So he still has a very white face. I did not touch the inside of this part. I kind of just filled in the rest of it. And then you could do the same thing if you wanted to, just to lighten the bottom here with your, it's not going to blend quite as much because this ink is dried, but it will blend once you re-wet it with your blender pen. Okay. All right. So actually I need to keep that out so I make sure I do the other side. All right, and let me scoot this over and put a little bit more glue on the inside there. And I am determined that I am going to send out my birthday cards this year, because I say that every year and somehow I don't end up doing it. But so far, I am 1 for 1. There you go. And then if you wanted to, you could even, because we did do a little bit of highlighting there, you could even take your white gel pen, make sure it's filling in, and you could even re-whiten this a little bit so his eyes really pop. Just kind of right around the edge there. There you go. Super adorable. You could even take a little bit of your little gray marker, kind of fill in a couple of the little spots there. There you go, just like that. I don't want to get too carried away because then sometimes I take it too far. So, adorable set. So you can earn something free right now through Sale-a-bration. Sale-a-bration runs through February, and I'm just going to put this here so you can see it. February 28th of 2022. There are lots of great stuff, lots of paper, lots of stamp sets. There's a couple extra little bonus things in there. So lots of fun stuff right now with Sale-a-bration. For every $50 in the United States qualifying purchase, you do earn something for free that is prior to tax and shipping. So for every $50 you spend, you earn something for free. So lots of great stuff right now. And the reason I like to show you guys this is because sometimes you might get a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of things that you see, but you have to remember, unfortunately for Sale-a-bration, it only lasts so long. So if it's something that you really want, you need to make sure that you get it sooner rather than later, because it doesn't hang around forever. Whereas we will have the Occasions Mini for, I believe it is 4 months. So that's pretty awesome. So which card is your favorite? The gray, the orange, or the kind of blue-green? I would love to hear what you think. If you could leave me a note in the comments, I would appreciate it. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. You can follow along as I make all the crafty stuff that we make. Lots of fun things coming up in the new year. Thank you guys so very much for watching. If you'd like to get any more information on this, you can check out my blog, rachethestamper.com. And if you would like to purchase any of these supplies and much more, you can go to my online store 24/7, rachethestamper.stampinup.net. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.